Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today on what I'm going to have to start calling this our Summer of Collaborations. Because last week I had LD Kid and Aqui NJ in for their brand new thing that they are doing.
Yeah.
And now the voices that you are here are two of Eastern Iowa's most notable music names, Gerard Estea. Hi, Gerard.
Hello.
And Craig Erickson.
Hi.
He would be notable.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm more post office on the wall.
Depending on
poster
what
guy.
for, that's the question for both of us.
Well, great to have you both here. And the reason why is that you have collaborated, Gerard, working kind of in production and stuff, and playing on a brand new Craig Erickson album, which is, I'm not going to say it's different than anything Craig has ever done, because I've heard, I've heard many facets,
Right.
Craig, but it is certainly, something a little off the beaten path from, what maybe some of your other releases have been. It's called Dream Tracks. And there is a album release concert this Friday and Saturday at the Opus Concert Cafe, June 28, 29, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. June 28 and 29. So that's the timely aspect of this. The album is coming out pretty soon. So let's just start kind of at the at the beginning. When did the two of you first start talking about this?
Wow.
I think, working on stuff with Gerard at theater stuff, SPT Theater, and different concerts, we have this tradition. Well, he started it. I'm playing a bunch of cool but weird, interesting music, and then just jamming in a moment.
As the warm up,
Right.
instead of rehearsing the songs we're going to play, we just do that.
We just start jamming.
Well, and I've seen you do this in in other venues.
Yeah.
Gerard has 15 minutes. He's going to sit down at the play and work on the piano for a while.
And so I don't know how many years, I don't know if we even kept track. We said, we need to really, when we have time, put something together.
It's been
Like what we're doing at the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's
Some
been
cool music and.
Oh my gosh, it has to be at least a decade plus.
Yeah.
And then I think it was just, you were guesting on something that I was involved with, and we were doing the same thing, talking about it, and Craig just goes, we really just need to do it. And I was like, so I just said, well, the secret to doing actually something is putting it on a schedule and actually making it real. So I talked to Nicole, who's like in charge of my schedule, because Lord knows I would not be good at it. And she's like, what are you guys going to do? Da, 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 da. I make her sound like she's like a 90-year-old like pitch person. What are you guys going to do? But I was like, I don't know. I think it's going to be an album, sort of, or something like that. And so she just made the time for it into the schedule. And then it was like, we just got together a couple of times. And Craig was like, hey, I've got this idea, that idea, which if you know Craig, he always has a lot of musical ideas. But it was really going into that sort of more, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm going to say it's more orchestrated, but realistically, I think it's very cinematic. Like all of the tunes are cinematic in their scope. Even when they're small, you can see the movie that's being played.
Very visual. And the Dream Tracks thing is interesting too, because, through the years, probably like a lot of musicians, in the middle of the night, I'm dreaming I'm playing concerts. It's all part of our life, And then once in a while, I dream I'm hearing music in my dream. That's cool. This is awesome. And you feel that thing, and then you wake up and you go, man, whatever that was, I wish I could have recorded it in my dream. So how am I going to bring that vibe into real life? And with his ambient and, expansive musical variety of what he can do, anything that pops in your imagination, he can surround it with that frame.
Gerard, when you two started working on this, and you went into this, I sense with the idea we're gonna, Craig's gonna do something, a little bit different than maybe what. How did you conceptualize, and how did the two of you talk about that, and how this was going to be a different direction? So I'm going to have both of you answer that question.
Well, you know what? I think honestly it was, he came over to the studio and was just like, here's like, he had put in like a Dropbox, like 2 or 3 different ideas. And we were just listening to him. And one of the tracks was something that you had written a long time ago.
Right.
And another one was a track that you had just written. And the thing that struck me, to be perfectly fair, was that we all know Craig's like a monster guitar player and all that stuff, and a heck of a songwriter, which you are. But when he actually started just doing like, here's guitar melodies, and so like you listen to the track, even the demo, and within like a minute, you've got it in your head. It's like really I would say it's composed in that way. So once we were talking about it and going, look, if the idea is that somebody can sing the guitar part, like the melody, then where do you want to put the structure? And he actually, Craig was very, very generous and very kind. He goes, we don't have to worry about that. Make it whatever it's supposed to be. So we didn't do a genre. We didn't do like, it has to be like this. And Craig is very easy at saying, well, this is a little bit like this, because he's a musicologist. He knows all the people and who recorded what, where. And I always have to play catch up because I'll know like a third or half the names that you say, dude. But, and then I'm like, oh yeah, wait, that record. And you listen to it and you go, oh, I see where the influences are. But really it came down to, and if I'm over speaking, you need to chime in here on this one there, buddy, because it's literally the record that he couldn't make when he was on a label, because of the expectation of it has to be able to sell, it has to fit this model, it needs to be. There's nothing wrong with that, man. I'm not pushing that as a negative, but there's limitations. You've got to go and say the audience will know what that is. This is one where it's like, I really didn't have an opportunity to hear him do what he does on this album before.
So Craig, so you're with Gerard, who you know, but collaborating with him in a new way.
Yeah.
You're in a new space, his studio, working with some different musicians.
Right.
So how did it feel to kind of be out of your comfort zone a little bit?
Well, I'd say, I've been out of my comfort zone a few times in my career, traveling to, studios in different cities and different countries, even in Canada, and recording with guys I never met. I did that on one album. But I think if there's anything close of any album I've done, it would be The Cosmic Farm with Rob Wasserman and T. Lavitz, because we were, doing instrumental, and I had a little more reign, like be creative, do what you want, and do some fusion type stuff. But the difference with this was all those songs were written, I think I wrote them all in 4 days, and we had virtually no rehearsal, or, T. Lavitz helped me a little bit, being a keyboard player like Gerard, and, but we recorded it so quickly. Kind of live in the studio. This, we actually got to come back and think about it, and things were a little more arranged, and so this was kind of like what I wanted that other album to be, but even going more so in this cinematic and elements of classical. I don't even know, world music, everything got thrown in there, because that's the way Gerard works.
Okay.
he's a little bit everything.
Defying categorization. And off mic, you were remarking that as you're getting ready to put this out on streaming, figuring out what genre keywords you were going to use was a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah. I was looking for the whatever category. I didn't see it on there.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
What surprised you as this all started to come together? Like you said, you've been around the world. You've recorded with friends that you've known for decades. Huge musical talents like Wasserman and Lavitz that you just walked in and do. What was it about this project that maybe turned out a little bit differently than you thought it was going to going in?
Well, I think for one thing, it's nice, it's local. It's kind of similar to what I do when I'm working on songs, a lot of songs on my own that I've never put out in my own studio, where I'm just relaxed. I can record any time of the night. It's comfortable. I'm not staying in a hotel and this and that, and just getting there on a plane or something. This is nice because the studio is not too far from where I live. So it's like, it's comfortable, local, but yet the musician quality is as high as anywhere. As you know, in Cedar Rapids, we know about that.
Yeah.
But I was really surprised, I got to say, with, these guys I've known for years, and, Lincoln Ginsberg and Dave Nanke and Jim Coates, and what they brought to the album, the quality level, I would say is no different than driving down to a studio in Los Angeles or Nashville.
Well, that's what we always say is you can do it as good here as any place, and a lot of that, Gerard, is doing a lot of the work that you've done in kind of growing a group of musicians and stylists and thinking through all the different pieces. Gerard calls this, calls it orchestrated. Now it's not orchestral.
Correct.
We should, we should get that out there because that is totally different. Or also very visual. Craig, is a lot of your music, that has been, used and composed for, TV and some movies. Is that really affected your compositional style? Does that come into play? Do you think more in pictures? Even if it's not associated with a specific story or visual.
Well, the instrumental, if you look back, even the instrumental fusion and more moody jazz, some of the Miles Davis, and of course, Chick Corea, Hymn of the Seventh Galaxy, and albums like this, they really, when you listen to them, it does kind of trip out your imagination, or some of the Jeff Beck ballads and things like that. And like when Jeff Beck did Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I kind of think, we talked about that because we did a Jeff Beck thing for one of the theater things. And we're like, it's pretty interesting when you have a guitar playing like a voice or a violin or a trumpet and you're surrounding it with this lush background. And, he's so good at that, and then he just knew what to do with draw the rest of it. But the band was very instinctive in being able to bring that. Yeah, to the mood, whatever the mood was, It's just like, I was kind of like, wow, I just got transported into a dream.
Well,
a musical dream.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just gonna say, in fairness, it's because you bring the tunes in and your musicality. Let's start there, right? Because if you don't have the tune and you don't have that, then everybody's standing around going, okay, that's nice. But the thing that was the reason why I'm going to say that it's orchestrated is because as compared to like saying, hey, you're going to play this part or that part, it was really more about the sections of the songs. I mean, like some of them are 7-9 minutes and probably have 3 movements if you were going to do the classical music approach.
Right.
But we tracked everything live. So like it's like literally it's off the floor. There were some overdubs of maybe some guitars or some overdubs of keyboards, but in terms of like drums, bass, his main stuff, everything just happened. So every take was literally was a different take on the tune. And so because of it, I think that what happened is after like we would start something, we would chart out, then we'd be like, oh, you know what? Maybe what if you go back to that C section? Somebody would have an idea. And Craig was very gracious and generous to allow everybody to contribute, which is also part of why I'm saying it's orchestrated, because it really became like, I'm this part of like, I'm going to be taking, like Jim would be saying, hey, my part should be this supportive. And having 2 guitar players playing down live is also a little different from the way that it's normally done these days, where you just, everybody records their own thing separately and da-da-da. But what it really did was put the energy into, this is not just my part, this is the line that goes with that line, and really became something a little bit more than if we had just said, okay, so you play an A and I'll play an A scale or something like that.
Craig, that had to be a great feeling, just to feel so incredibly supported by the other musicians and having it be a real collaborative process.
Yeah, no, it just, like, for not playing together that much, I have played with some of the players before, like Dave Nanke and of course Gerard, but it just felt like, yeah, these guys, are like a pro studio group. Like I say, like the Wrecking Crew or the Muscle Shoals guys or the Motown guys, whatever, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, the Cedar Rapids Wrecking Crew.
Yes, we need to start.
According to the Slack channel calls them the Brucemore Boys, because we do so much work for the Brucemore folks,
right?
That it's like, and so because of it, it is a little bit of shorthand. Like literally, we have tracked, probably that same group has tracked 4 or 5 different artists as a group. But what that really means is like, we know each other musically, we're friends, blah, blah, blah. All of that translates into like, it's just about, hey, what's the music saying? There's not a lot of other things getting in the way. So They're the Bruce Moore Boys, I believe, is what the Slack channel that we're on is called.
The
But I
album,
like the Wrecking Crew better.
Yeah.
the
original
album is
one.
called Dream Tracks, and the CDs are supposed to arrive this week. Yeah, so
I should have some.
does
by-
that mean we'll have some that we can get our hands on at the concert?
I'm sure hoping so.
Okay, and then you're going to drop in streaming toward the end of the summer. Yes.
Early August. is
Early
the plan,
August.
yep.
Okay. Well, it's very possible we'll start playing on KCCK before.
Yes.
Before
Yeah.
that. In fact, we've got some advanced tracks, and you're hearing them this week as we get ready for the concert. Well, this has been some time in the making. It was originally scheduled for March, and then had to be postponed. So it's been on my calendar for a long time. So I am really looking forward to hearing these songs live and getting to know them and getting to hear both of you in kind of a different stylistic environment. Yeah. So again, it's at Opus Concert Cafe, Friday and Saturday. Tickets at the usual Orchestra Iowa site. You can go online to artsiowa.com or visit the Orchestra Iowa ticket office there next to the Paramount Theater. And Opus is not a huge room.
Right.
Pretty easy to sell out. So I would get your tickets early. So Craig, where can people visit you online if they'd like to know? You mentioned tickets, but if they want to know more about the project or just revisit some of your other stuff, what's your online?
Well, I've got it under CraigEricksonSkytrain.com.
Okay.
And then also I've got a Facebook fan page, but Craig Erickson Skytrain. And of course, I've got pages up now on, all the Spotify, CD Baby, and all that stuff too. So.
All right. And Gerard, if people want to find out more about your projects, where can they visit?
Nowhere, really. I'm not the public guy.
It's a secret.
You can look at SPT Theater, Bruce Moore, whatever, that type of stuff. We do stuff, but yeah, I'm sort of like the behind the scenes guy.
All right. Well, I'm excited that you stepped out and were willing to come and talk about this project too, because it's again, as I said at the top of the interview, a very fun and new, not so new collaboration. So looking forward to the concerts. Thanks for being here.
Oh,
Thank you
for
very
having
much.
us.
Appreciate it.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio many weekdays at 10:30 or download the podcast. Watch or listen on your own schedule at kcck.org/culture or using your favorite podcast app. Our videos are up on the KCCK Facebook or YouTube channels too. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. I'm Dennis Green. I'll talk to you later.